aggregation services, and that's all included with being a SOPEC member. So there's no fee for service, there's no additional cost to our members to take advantage of some of these services. So we handle all of the notices and filings with PUCO for the aggregation program. I mentioned Phil is our general counsel, so he's our in-house counsel. We also have outside counsel with Dickinson Wright, law firm in Columbus. They work constantly with PUCO handling legal services for our communities and for SOPEC. Can I have the mouse back? No. Thank you. All right, cool. So they handle a lot of that legal work for our communities. I mentioned I'm in a dual role. I serve as the Central Ohio Director, but I also handle advocacy on behalf of our organization and our members at the State House. And let's see, move on to the next slide here. Sorry about that. Okay, so in addition to that, we have a really fantastic grant writing team. So if there's grants that the village is interested in pursuing, we can handle all of that for you. Again, no additional fees or anything. We have a lot of technical expertise as well on our staff. Some of the highlights are listed on there. So we're helping our communities navigate a lot of technical issues that they may have in the energy and sustainability space. We also offer a lot of services related to education and marketing for the programs. We know that transparency is a really important thing to this village, and so being transparent and open to the public, getting information out to them is also important to us, and so we offer a lot of those communication services. And then going into the electric aggregation program, so we only offer fixed term competitive rates. We use 100% renewable energy by default. Within the program, you can always step down to traditional fossil fuel mix, or you can opt out of the program entirely. And we'll get a little bit more into that next couple slides. And then we also have a dedicated SOPEC line, customer care call center with AEP Energy, our supplier. It's a specific SOPEC number, so if any customers call, they get somebody here located in Central Ohio to help them navigate whatever issues they're having. You guys already have an aggregation program, so I probably don't need to go super in the weeds on that, but just so we're clear, we are only talking about the supply portion of people's bills. So right now, AEP Ohio is your utility. That does not change under our program, so all of the distribution and transmission charges, that is still with AEP Ohio. If there's an outage, power outage, people still call AEP Ohio to report that. They don't call SOPEC. So we're just talking with aggregation about the supply portion. So just next couple of slides, I just have the revised code sections about why we're here tonight. So in order to adopt a plan of operation and governance, you are required to hold 2 public hearings. We held one earlier today, the noon hour, and then we're holding this one this evening. And then you guys put out 2 public notices as is required by the revised code as well. That's all this is. So the plan covers a lot, and Phil is here, if we want to get in the weeds on any of the issues in the plan of operation and governance, but it's a pretty comprehensive document. It covers everything from our structure, governance, operations, management, funding, and all of our different policies. The plan is certified by the PUCO, Public Utilities Commission of Ohio. And then talking more specifically about the aggregation program itself, I want to reiterate that participation is completely voluntary for each individual customer, whether they're residential or we can also serve small businesses below a certain usage threshold. So individual customers will be notified when we are going to lock a rate. They'll be given 21 days to opt out. And on next couple of slides, I'll show you what those opt-out letters look like so you can see that, what they'll receive. But again, when we aggregate customers together, and with SOPEC specifically, we try to bundle as many communities as we can together to really increase the buying power, not just of the community itself, which is one of the goals of aggregation, but combining you with some of the other communities that we serve as well really kind of enhances that collective buying power. And again, it says on here, we secure clean, sustainable energy sources. Again, the default program is renewable energy, but you always have the opportunity to step down. So I've got some examples on here of some of the savings that we've seen in recent years with our programs. Again, all while using 100% renewable energy. In Dayton, they've saved $11.2 million just in a couple of years. Riverside, $1.9 million. Cleveland, obviously much larger community, they've saved 20.7, I think Phil updated that today. Yeah, 20.7 million. And Upper Arlington, closer to home here, 2.7 million just in the last 2 years, all while being green. So we like to think of it as a win-win program. You don't need to choose green or saving money. We've been able to be competitive by doing both. Also, a couple things I'll highlight here. We have never terminated, canceled, or suspended an aggregation program prior to completion. I mentioned earlier that all of our terms are either 1 to 3 years. You can go up to 3 years. We typically lock for around a year, but we can go up to 3. And within that term, the rate will never change. We never do variable monthly pricing that goes up and down. Kind of undermines the point of the program. We want certainty for your residents, and that's what we try to accomplish here. When we go to lock a rate, we're watching very closely with our supplier, AP Energy, sometimes getting pricing on a daily basis, rather than running an RFP on a random day and then seeing whatever price comes in. We really try to target those dips in the market, working hand in hand with you, as well as our supplier, to make sure that everybody's comfortable with the rate that we're going to lock. And then we also are paying very close attention to the local utility auctions to see what we're expecting the price to compare, or the standard service offer offered by the utility might be, and seeing how that's going to compare with the rate that we'll offer you through our program. So participation, I mentioned residential and certain small businesses can be in the program. The program does exclude certain customers, so PIP customers, that's people on like a public assistance program, they would not qualify for the program. And then anybody who has shopped for their own supplier on PUCO's Apples to Apples website, if you're not familiar with that, you don't have to participate in aggregation. You don't even have to, if you don't have an aggregation program, you don't have to just accept whatever the utility will offer. You can go on the PUCO's website, shop for yourself as an individual resident. This program would not alter that arrangement at all. In fact, they wouldn't even receive our opt-out letter because they're already enrolled in with a different supplier. And I mentioned previously, large industrial customers would not be eligible for the program as well. And then, of course, anybody who opts out would not be included. So eligible residents and small businesses will receive a letter in the mail once the price is locked. They'll have 21 days to opt out before they will be automatically enrolled in our program. If they miss that 21-day window, that's perfectly fine. They will get picked up for that first month, so that first meter read, but then they can opt out at any time without any termination fees. If they want to choose their own supplier, if they want to go back on the utility standard service offer, they have that right to do so, and we try to make it easy. That letter that we send out has a QR code, it has a phone number, you can send in a notice in the mail. We try to make it as easy as possible for people to navigate. And then, of course, if they want to join the program at a later date, if they had already shopped with a different supplier, or maybe they chose to get out of our program, but then they realize they want to get back in. Again, there's no fee ever to leave or come back into the program. So this is what the envelope looks like when you get our opt-out notice in the mail. We'll often include, if you'd like, the village's logo as well. We want people to know that this is an official document. This isn't just something they can throw straight in the trash. We want people to pay attention. And then this is what the letter looks like itself. I know that's very small, so you probably can't read it, but this is what they look like. We can even include a picture, if you guys want, of like the village square, however you want it to appear to the residents so that they know that it's an official document. It'll include all of the terms and conditions of the plan, and there's some frequently asked questions that help kind of explain what aggregation is. But of course, we also are available if people have questions. They're always welcome to reach out to us or AEP Energy. So that concludes this slide deck. I'm happy to answer any questions on electric.
I have a couple of questions, Stephen. First of all, renewable versus traditional, what's the relative difference in cost? And kind of associated with that question is, do residents have that level of granularity? They can pick one or the other?
Yeah, so you can always opt out entirely of any program, but you can also use the same method to step down to traditional fossil fuel if you want to as a resident. The default rate is going to be green energy. And Phil can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the last time we saw, so we do the procuring of power through RECs, renewable energy certificates, specifically Green E certificates. And those, I believe, were trading around $2.35 most recently, right around there. And if you average that out for an average residential user, it's usually around, I think, $1.79 a month difference between that, the brown rate, I'm sorry? Closer to 2? Okay, sorry. Around $2 per month per household is the difference. Total, yeah, not per like kilowatt hour or anything like that. It's typically a $2 difference on your bill. And that's kind of why we make it the default rate. It's not nothing, but it's a pretty small amount, and we see a lot of value and having that as the default rate. And of course, you know, if somebody's philosophically opposed, they don't want to be participating in green energy, they can very easily opt out entirely or step down to fossil fuel.
Have you done any analysis on what we're paying today versus what your rate might be?
I don't think we've seen that because we haven't been able to run numbers yet for your specific community to see what that would look like. Yeah, you want to add?
So one quick thing, I suppose, to answer that question too. I think you guys right now, your rate is somewhere in the mid 9-cent range, I believe. So one thing, you know, transparency is very important to us. And so one thing I want to make clear is that no matter what route you guys go, electric rates are going up a little bit starting in June. And a big component of that is what's called capacity charges. And it's something that we can't control. And PJM is the organization that runs our energy grid all the way from Chicago to New Jersey. And they run what's called a capacity auction. What capacity charges basically are is an insurance product for the electric grid that makes sure that on the hottest days of the year when people need the most energy, it protects to make sure that the grid doesn't have blackouts and brownouts. So a big piece that's driving those capacity charges and auctions higher for the entire region are data centers, and AI growth is really driving the demand of what's needed for everyone. And unfortunately, it's out of all of our control, and that's a component that is, you know, truly from Chicago to New Jersey. Everyone's seeing this kind of increase. So starting in June, is when the next supply year starts, and the last capacity auction was higher, so everyone's rates are ticking up a little bit. So just wanted to be, I know that's getting in the weeds, I just wanted to be
That's good.
transparent that's something we're seeing, so.
Yeah, and obviously what we want to try to do is, even though things might be ticking up,
Yes.
that we have an advantage because of the number of residents that are pooled through your service, right? So I'm just trying to get a feel for, where do you think that would land based on us just trying to do this through
Yeah.
1,200, 1,400 residents,
Right.
right?
And I will say that we are seeing this slight uptick, but our job is, we're never going to say we guarantee savings because that's a dangerous game to play. But we always say we will have competitive rates, and we watch the auctions and the market very closely to try to get as competitive as possible. And, what we're trying to look at, especially, is that standard service offer rate coming from the local utility, because the whole purpose is to try to set a new default rate for your community that is more competitive and more local control, and you guys kind of having that. One thing to note in AEP Ohio territory is the standard service offer rate does move multiple times throughout the year because of what are called riders on the rate. So that is a little bit of a moving target throughout the year, but trying to stay in a good spot there. And Steve pointed this out, that a big component of the fixed term pricing is to make sure that folks have stability and predictability with their billing as well. So
What's the longest term you recommend?
lately, the most we would be comfortable with, I think, is 1 to 2 years, just because it is such a volatile market. We tend to keep closer to the 1 year because then we're comparing against that supply year coming from AEP Ohio territory. So it's just been a very volatile time where prices are bouncing around. So.
Yeah, so may I ask, and this is just trying to put it in basic English because there's been a lot of really good information shared with us. So I'm just trying to decipher why we should move from what we had to you all and what we're saving. And so if there was some type of a sheet that says, this is what you guys paid last year overall and what your rates were, and this is what they're going to be for the next 2 to 3 years. Is that a possibility? But because I know that there's fluctuation, so I know that can be a little challenging.
No, it's a good question, and there absolutely is fluctuation, and timing is everything when you're locking in a rate. So when a community joins, for example, is also impacted of where their rate falls, because some folks have aggregation programs that start in December, some have it in July, like you guys, some have it
Play in the stock
June.
market.
Yeah, it just depends. And so it is a little bit of a moving target, to answer your question. I can't speak for your current program necessarily, but I will say that, what we've heard is the hope for more transparency and customer service that's top notch. That is very important to us. We are governmental employees as well. So, transparency is very the heart of what we do too. So from a customer service standpoint, we make sure that our supplier is providing all the information. If it's coming from them, we make sure that they are giving top-notch customer support as well. We see what the call center stats are on a daily basis. So we make sure that we're holding them to a standard that we want to see for our residents and small businesses. So that's of utmost concern.
So I guess I'm thinking, we go ahead and move towards this, and then we get all these Facebook posts that say, our rates are much higher than they were a year ago, and then that's a big problem for us. So kind of what's the angle on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Phil was saying, I think no matter who you choose to be your broker, the market is what it is, and we're going to see pricing increases no matter what, for like a July type of start for the new term. So that's, a lot of that is beyond
So
our
price
control.
is not what we're selling this on.
What's that?
So price savings is not what we're selling this on.
Well, no, I would argue, I mean, we're as competitive as any other broker. I'm just saying, given the way that the market is, which is completely beyond any broker's control,
Right.
especially with the capacity charges driven by more data centers and more usage, everybody's going to be dealing with higher prices. So,
Okay. And then do you happen to know who has been on our current, I mean, do you have data from us that shows who is on the aggregation program and then
You
like
mean
for
residents?
yes, and as well as our businesses, because like if I reach out to several of our businesses around here, they may not know about this aggregation program at all. So I would want to make sure that everybody knew.
Yeah, right now, what we do have is we're able to get the aggregation data of who is eligible for a program.
Okay.
That's not to say if somebody has shopped in the past, if they like the rate and they want to come into the program, they can do that for no fee. But what we get at the start of the program is who's eligible. So it's going to be mainly folks that are on the current standard service offer or in your current program. So that's who kind of goes into that first wave, essentially.
So if somebody signed up for an aggregation program 2 years ago, which the rates would obviously be better, and then we're looking to have them join now in 2026, they're going to stay where they are because they had that.
Correct.
Okay.
And
Just want to make that
the
clear.
other thing I wanted to mention too is we're not naive to, nobody likes to pay more. You know what I mean? And so we're doing the same thing in our own households, you know?
Right, exactly.
And, but one thing we try to make sure that we're explaining very well, and our Director of Public Affairs and Marketing, Chloe, on our team, puts together media kits for our communities to make sure that you guys have the facts of why we're seeing what we're seeing, and make sure that we try to distill it down to, I mean, energy markets are so complicated.
Right.
And to try to make it straightforward so that folks understand in general why we're all paying more.
Yeah.
And so that is something that I hope we do as well or better than anyone. So
Thank you.
Chloe's great.
Thank you.
I have a question. This might sound complicated at first. I have a kid in public school and I've got a kid in private school. Costs about half as much to send a kid to a private school, not for the parents, but total cost average for a kid to go to school is about half as much as a public school. You guys are a public body. I'm wondering what costs are different for your organization as compared to some of the other brokers out there, and do those cost differences impact the rate that we see show up in our bill?
Yeah.
And are those decisions made by a public body, or are they made more like they would be like a board of directors or something within the private market? And so what if, so like with schools, it's more heavy union, and that's why it costs a lot more to send a kid to public school. So, you know, I use that as an example. I don't know if I'm way off, but that's just kind of where my mind's going.
Yeah. Little different, but I'm following your analogy and whatnot. So our standard, I can't speak for the other brokers and you know, kind of their approach. Our standard admin fee is what's 0.2 of a cent per kilowatt hour. And so it's baked into the rate. So based on the average residential usage in Ohio, that's approximately about $1.78 per month per household.
That's the number that I got wrong earlier.
Well, that, you were talking about
I know,
renewable
but
energy.
I cited that number instead
Oh,
of.
yeah. So that hasn't changed in quite a few years for us. So, you know, that is baked into our rate. I think what also makes us different, so it's kind of apples and oranges in some ways, are the other services that the organization provides to our communities, like the grant writing support, like, you know, if there's any in the energy projects or whatever that you guys are interested in exploring or looking into, we do that too. So it's, yeah, I think it's not exactly apples and oranges, and I don't know what the others.
And I think probably the reason I asked is because it's hard for you to come sell us with it not being based off price. So I'm just like, okay, well then how do you get to your price? And then going back and say, well, how did the other guys do it before? And how did they land at a rate that didn't make us happy? You know, and so I'm
Sure.
just trying to make a decision, you know, in the future on, you know, how I would vote on something, you know, like this.
Completely understand.
You know, just to let the people know. I mean, there's a lot that goes into this, I imagine. I'm just trying to be as educated as possible, since you guys are a public body.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did I answer?
Yeah, I think so. Probably the best. I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, we could probably have coffee and talk about that for years, but
I think the takeaway is, like, so he mentioned the admin fee that's baked into the rate. And so when you look, you compare our rates to other brokers' rates, it's very competitive, no matter what that fee is that's
Sure.
embedded in there.
Uh-huh.
So it doesn't wind up being really different.
Sure.
I mean, it really kind of depends on when you lock the rate, what the term is, the location of the community, the service territory of the utility that they're in. There's a lot of different factors that go into what the end rate winds up being.
Right. Okay.
I also noticed that you guys were part of SoulSmart,
Yeah.
and so you could talk a little bit about that. I believe, is that a MORPC program? Or it allows you with, to apply for various grants that other people can't apply for? Would that be correct?
So little different.
Okay.
We do have, so SoulSmart is a distinction that communities can get that's essentially for residential and businesses that want to install solar to drive their bills down. It basically just kind of removes, you get a distinction for your community if you've kind of removed red tape essentially.
That's right.
And made the permitting process much easier for folks. That's talking residential and small businesses, not large scale.
Right.
But from a grant writing standpoint, our grant writing team, they've gotten, I think the number is $26 million since January of 2024. They've either been awarded or supported. And we're very proud of them, but they've gone after federal, state, and private foundation funding that then helps supply or helps communities with whatever project. I think our most recent was it's close to $500,000 grant for the community of Racine in Southeast Ohio to upgrade the LED lighting and paths in their park downtown. So we kind of try to look at it holistically,
Right.
I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, that's a great program. So I was just curious what your affiliation was with that and how it played into your business model.
Yeah, specifically with Soulmart. So we've got a couple of staff that if the village was interested in one of the designations through SoulSmart, they'll help navigate that process with you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, no other questions. We're going to be moving on to natural gas aggregation, but we'll need to close this hearing if we can have a motion to close this hearing.
So moved.
Jillian motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Michelle, when you're ready.
Mike,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Julian,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
and Kathy.
Yes.
All right, this hearing is closed. Matt, you want to open
Can you
up the
say
next
the
hearing?
time?
Pardon?
Time?
Oh, yes, it is.
6:38.
6:38, yes, thank you.
My convenient clock's dead. I took it down.
All right. Our second hearing of the evening is for public hearing on the Village of Galena Natural Gas Aggregation Program, Plan of Operation and Governance. This is also by SOPEC. They are Regional Council of Governments under Chapter 167 of the Ohio Revised Code. SOPEC provides energy services to member communities, political subdivision, nonprofits, faith-based organizations, and public agencies. The SOPEC Natural Gas Aggregation Program Plan of Operation and Governance addresses the following topics of the Natural Gas Aggregation Program: goals and operations and funding, customer participation, service, and protections, policies and procedures related to rates for eligible Village of Galena residents and small commercial customers, organizational structure and management of SOPEC, and notification of opt-out aggregation program customers, and the steps towards establishing the aggregation program. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Stephen, if you can just kind of cover what hasn't been covered and the base stuff. Appreciate it.
I tried to trim the slides down a little for this
Thank
one,
you.
too.
If there's anyone who wishes to address this issue, please rise. If not, seeing no hands, you're already under oath.
Okay, so yeah, this program is very similar to our electric program, but it is for natural gas. And yeah, these first couple of slides are those same revised code sections about why we're here this evening, about the public hearing requirements, and then about the notices for the hearings tonight. So I thought I would talk a little bit about the distinction between the electric standard service offer and the standard choice offer. They're very different products, even though they are energy for residential and small businesses. Standard choice offer, I think Phil mentioned maybe, it fluctuates month to month. So it's a very different product than electric, and that makes the aggregation program different as well. So the standard choice offer is the default rate for natural gas charged to customers who decide not to shop for a competitive supplier. So similar to electric, you can go on the PUCO's website and shop for a natural gas supplier as a resident right now, outside of the aggregation program. Has two components, price of natural gas commodity as established by NYMEX, and the cost of delivering it to those customers. And again, that can fluctuate month to month. So natural gas aggregation then allows communities to select retail product to replace the standard choice offer, just like under electric, it replaces the standard service offer as a new default rate for residents and small businesses. Has that same collective buying power we talked about with electric, and it gives communities that same negotiating power with retail suppliers. The emphasis is really on consumer choice, consumer protection, and local control of your program. And then, again, the biggest difference between gas and electric is that natural gas should be seen more as kind of an insurance policy. We call it insurance policy because it's really insurance against those really cold winter months. So having a fixed term for a whole year can be really beneficial for some communities for a couple of months out of the year when you're really using a lot more natural gas to heat your home. In the summer months when you're using less, the rate might actually be a little higher, the aggregation rate might be, under any program, than what the standard choice offer is because it fluctuates month to month, but you're also using considerably less during the summer as well, so your bill would likely still be lower in the summer under an aggregation program. So participation is virtually the same as electric. So again, we're talking about residential and certain small businesses. It excludes PIP customers, the percentage of income, payment plan customers, anybody who has already shopped on Apples to Apples, PUCO's website, and then those large industrial customers, they would not be included. And then, of course, anybody who has opted out of the program. So a few things that really impact gas pricing, weather conditions, storage inventory levels, gas drilling levels and production, natural gas exports, and then economic conditions. And then, of course, world events like what's occurring right now in Iran can really greatly impact pricing. So it's a pretty different product from electric. That is the end of the slide deck. We're happy to answer any questions on that as well.
What is our drop dead date here, Tom? When does our current aggregation end? Got to come on up. Oh, you guys know, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you mean for electric or for gas?
For us,
Electric, it would be the end of June. So we'd be talking about a July start date, and given all the regulatory requirements and filings that need to happen with the PUCO, I believe we would have to have a rate locked by May 15th.
so that would require us to enter into emergency language tonight. How about the natural gas, do we know?
I don't remember the gas.
I thought we were doing both. Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead, turn
we-
your mic on.
it was approved to be able to do it, but we
Okay.
haven't done it.
I knew we had approved, okay.
Yeah,
But we
the
haven't entered
discussions
into
we've
an
had have
agreement.
mostly been around electric. We talked about how it's a kind of a different product, and you can pass the plan of operation and governance to join SOPEC for natural gas, and we never have to activate the program. We can watch the market, see if it makes sense for us to, work hand in hand with you guys, whether or not you want to activate the program. And then if you choose to, we wouldn't have to go through the POG hearings then.
Okay, that makes sense. Anybody have any questions for these gentlemen? Do I have a motion to close this open hearing?
So moved. Jill?
Jill motion, have a second?
I'll second.
Zach second, when you're ready, Michelle?
Pete,
Yes.
Jillian,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
and Mike.
Yes.
All right, this open hearing closed at 6:45 PM. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, guys. If you can stick around for a little bit, we might have some other. All right, folks, we have three pieces of legislation here. The first one, I'm going to read it, and then we can talk a bit more about all of this. Resolution number 2026-09, first reading emergency. A resolution authorizing an agreement with the Sustainable Ohio Public Energy Council, authorizing the execution of the delivery of the agreement, establishing SOPEC, and approving the bylaws of SOPEC and declaring an emergency. This piece of legislation allows us to join into the program. The next two actually are participatory, right? They put us in the middle of participating in the program. So anybody have any questions, concerns about this first one?
Just did a little chat GBT. Just need more time to just. I think it's the government versus free market thing for me. I'm wondering if you guys can get the rates as fast as they do. And is that seems to be a concern? I don't know if it's founded or not, but
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Mhm.
The mic's not on.
Yeah, I hear you. One thing I should mention too, in our contract, AEP Energy has to provide us 3 market quotes when they go out to bid for us. So they have to show us what those are when they go out and get bids from traders.
sure,
That's to keep them honest and to make sure that they're not just throwing out a price.
right.
So that was very important to us. The other thing I will say too is right now there's only a handful of suppliers in the aggregation space anymore. You often see RFPs going out where there's only 1, 2, or maybe 3 suppliers that bid on it. And our model's a little different because I literally can get updated pricing on a daily basis as much as I want from AEP Energy. So we can watch where the market is going. It's just a different model.
Right.
People wouldn't buy stocks just on, I'm going to buy May 1st. Like maybe you wouldn't just say, I'm going to buy a commodity on May 1st, no matter what. You'll get the cheapest that day. But we want to buy more like you would buy stocks, where you're watching the market. So hope that helps.
So, yeah, I'd like to kind of, Mike, add to that a little bit. I agree with your point, first of all, but we were having a lot of trouble with this, with the broker. And not that they're a bad guy or anything. We just, it was not transparent. We couldn't figure out what was going on. It turned out that the RFPs that they were sending out were sometimes going to one person instead of a broad a group. And we just, we just would like the thing to be open and transparent, and so I think that my assessment is that we're going to get a lot more competitive rate from the suppliers. And their fee is very low, and it's baked into the rate. And then we get a seat on the board, so we're actually controlling it. So, Matt researched it and came up with this recommendation, and the mayor and I concurred that it's, if we want to do aggregation, either we should do it ourselves, realize all the savings, or join a council of governments and share the savings. But that's just some background information.
Sure, yeah, there's a lot of bad companies in the free market system. I mean,
It wasn't the free.
I get that too.
It wasn't a free market. It's
Yeah.
just the idea of there being a very little
Right.
regulation, and that's kind of our bad too. We should have been more on top of that when we first started doing it, probably. But we feel this is a good thing, and it doesn't really lock us in very long. If we don't like them, we can probably throw them out, I guess.
I was going to say, we've entered into year-to-year agreements up to now, and it's been kind of a learning experience. And with the recommendation tonight, it sounds like it would be another year agreement, not a multi-year agreement.
Right.
which-
Yeah, a couple
which-
years ago, we entered into an agreement on sewer and water rates, and I regretted voting for it because it was so pressed. It was at the end of the year, and we had to have it that night, and it created a lot of issues for the village. So, I'm just trying to ask all the questions, and be as educated as possible.
Sure, of course. Anybody else? All right, well, we read resolution number 2026-09. Do we have a motion to suspend the rules?
Sure. I'll make the motion.
I will second.
All right, Michelle, when you're
Zach,
ready.
then Jill.
Jill, then Zach, or yeah, Zach, then Jill.
Jillian,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Mike,
No.
and Pete.
Yes.
Motion passes. Do we have a motion to approve resolution number 2026-09?
I'll make the motion.
Zach first.
I'll second.
When you're ready, Michelle.
Zach,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Mike,
Abstain.
Pete,
Yes.
and Jillian.
Yes.
Resolution number 2026-09 passes. The next resolution, number 2026-10, first reading as an emergency, approving the plan of operation and governance for the Sustainable Ohio Public Energy Council electric aggregation program, and for the purpose of jointly establishing and implementing an electric aggregation program and declaring an emergency. And this is the one that I think we just said expires here soon, right, by the end of June. Do we have a motion to suspend the rules?
Can I ask a question really
Of course.
quick? Sorry.
Please.
For the board seat, when would we have to elect somebody to that board? Sorry, I didn't ask that earlier.
No, that's okay. It's for the General Assembly. So really, as soon as you guys want to, it's really an internal decision at that
Okay.
point. So it's once you've joined, you guys, there's a form that we send you, and you just name who it is, and whoever signs
One
it for-
person and
for
an
the village.
alternate, or two people? or-
Usually it's one, but you guys can name an alternate
Okay.
in the event it's necessary.
How
So
often does the assembly meet?
just once a year for the General Assembly, and it's in central Ohio. So we try to have it centrally located since we're statewide.
Okay.
So
Do you want us to select a elected official for the representative, or do you want us to select a staff member?
it can be either one. We have communities that do both. So
Okay.
that's, either way is okay with us. So
Okay. Do we have a motion to suspend the rules on 2026-10?
So moved.
Is that Jill? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Zach? All right, Michelle, when you're ready.
Okay. Jill?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Mike?
Nope.
Pete?
Yes.
Jillian?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
The suspension passes. Do we have a motion to approve resolution number 2026-10? Someone else has to be in on this.
I'll make the motion.
Jillian motion,
I'll second.
Zach second. Michelle, when you're ready.
Kathy?
Yes.
Mike?
Abstain.
Pete?
Yes.
Jillian?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
And Jill?
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Resolution number 2026-11. First reading, emergency, approving the plan of operation and governance for the Sustainable Ohio Public Energy Council Natural Gas Aggregation Program, and for the purpose of jointly establishing and implementing a natural gas aggregation program and declaring an emergency. Before we start on this, I would just, this is not a rush or hurry for us to go implement, right? I would think we would hold on to this one until we feel like we've got the most favorable rate. You gentlemen agree with that? For the natural gas one?
That's absolutely okay.
Okay, if we pass it tonight, I guess what I'm saying is I think we ought to hold it until we have good insight into the best possible rate.
Yeah.
You want to go up?
So when a community joins, for example, especially when you're in a situation where there's not an active program like the natural gas program, we are going to work very closely with you guys that we're only going to lock that in when it feels right for the community too. So if there aren't, if it's not a good time to lock for natural gas rates, then you should sit still. So agreed. An example of that is when Dayton joined SOPEC, I think it was in 2021, they actually, because they hadn't had an active program in a long time, they kept watching for, I think it was like 6 months until they were ready to lock. So there is no rush if there's
Good.
not an active program.
Perfect, thank you.
So, yep.
Any other questions, points? Do we have a motion to suspend the rules on resolution number 2026-11? No motion. We have no motion. Okay, so that reading carries, we'll move on. All right, we're going to now open a public hearing. Do we have the recorder here?
She's
The recorder's online, so you want to help us get this opened and,
Check mark in my thing.
who's going to help us get this open, Tom? Matt?
All right, next up is a continuation of a hearing for 42 West Columbus Street for Mr. Hollis. We left the hearing open at the last session in order to resolve some issues and bring the concept up for a vote this evening. So I will step aside.
Okay. This is a continuation of a public hearing from April 27th. Mr. Hollis has been working diligently with our engineering team. It's been a lot of fun. And there's a lot of updates to bring council tonight, so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Hollis. Yeah, I think you might have to get sworn in, Mr. Hollis.
Mr. Hollis and anyone else who wishes to speak at this public hearing, would you please stand and raise your right hand and we'll swear you in? Seeing just Mr. Hollis and our zoning official. Repeat after me. I state my name, or state your name.
Matthew Hollis.
Do swear
I affirm
or affirm that you will tell the truth
I'll tell the truth
at this public hearing before the Galena Public Council.
at this public hearing before the Galena Council.
Thank you.
I just want to make, for the record, the hearing started at 6:57 PM.
The hearing is still open.
That's right, it was still open. Still open.
Started last month.
All right, well, good evening, everybody. As you may recall, my name is Matt. Happy Monday. It's good to see you again. What we were discussing in the last open hearing is, for those of you that might not have been here, the development of the property that I own at the corner of West Columbus Street and Middle Street. And ultimately, what we were trying to do is there were a number of engineering components that we needed to work through, and we felt that we should probably just kind of let that sit. So we left the hearing open, and then I spent a lot of time with the village in development meetings with Matt and with Tom, as well as with the village engineer, Mark, to come up with the best win-win situation for everyone involved. And this is a very small site, and so we squeezed the balloon as best as we could to make it so that everybody could win. And so what we have before you is a revised site plan, and I'm going to go ahead and walk over to that side because I think it'll be a little easier for me to explain it by the screen if that's okay. Or would you rather I stay? Do you guys have a copy of it that you're looking at?
We have a copy
Oh,
in
you got
front
a
of us.
copy, then that's fine. All right, so then you can look at where. So, long story short, what we did is before the last hearing, we had not completed a full topographical and boundary survey on the property. And so we did get that completed a few days after the last village council meeting. Oh, okay, great, thank you. All right, and what we found out is that when we were in all of the concept discussions about the angled parking in order to add more spaces, we thought we had more right-of-way, or the village thought they had more right-of-way than what was actually existing. So when the survey came back, I had initially committed to giving up 2 feet out of my lot in order to make that parking possible, but what we realized is that it was going to require 5 feet instead of 2. And the lot is actually really tight and small. And at that time, the neighbor to my west, Coldwater Consulting, had not committed to give up any of their property. They were still a little bit concerned and wanted to see exactly where the boundaries would be. So the surveyor went out, we were able to stake everything, and so then we just all got together and really worked collaboratively to try to come up with the best win-win possible. And so I am committing to give up 5 feet of my property line in order to make the angled parking possible. I also worked with Coldwater, who is also willing to give up 5 feet from their front property line in order to make that parking possible. Some of the things that we did to kind of ease the burden on the Coldwater side was you'll notice that very last space that we put there is a parallel handicapped parking space rather than another angled spot, which would have consumed pretty much all of the property that she had. And so working with her and working with the village, we determined that we can put a parallel parking space there and that it does meet all of the ADA requirements to be a handicapped space. And given that one of the big sensitivities for the village was sight lines to the stop sign, we think this is also a win because that handicap space won't get utilized as much as maybe just a regular parallel space that would be sitting there. So you'll note that we are looking at a total of 8 parking spaces, including the handicap, 7 that would be angled. The other thing that we were successful in doing is we were successful in making all of those spaces functional full-size spaces. So they are all 9 by, I believe it's 19 or 20 spaces, rather than going down to maybe 8.5 or 18, which is what is on the square, or a little bit smaller spaces than what we had here. So we were able to keep it at full-size spaces. And then in order to make this possible, though, like we discussed the last time, I need to have an entrance off of Middle Street, and there was some concern about the safety of that entrance. And so Burgess and Neipel conducted a traffic study. Burgess and Neipel's a traffic engineering firm, and you guys may have a copy of that, maybe not. But in that letter, they basically referenced all of the safety standards that would have to be put into place to make that feasible. So the first one being, we're going to relocate the intersection from where it's at now to where you actually stop to look and see if you can go. We're going to delete the pedestrian crossing from there to the square. There's currently nowhere on the square to receive it, and it actually, I think, makes more sense in the future for the village to move that pedestrian crossing to the middle of Middle Street, because then it would line up with the square and the pedestrian crossing on the other side. We are going to then add that private access point there. It will be forced to be gated, meaning that it'll be locked down and only accessible when I'm there. I intend to use a remote system so that it's only open when a vehicle's passing through it. So locked and gated, and then also they recommended a mountable curb so that it kind of deters people from making it look like a driveway. And so we're going to work through a mountable curb there. And then in order to meet my requirements, in order to get my dealer's license, I have to have a minimum lot square footage. And so everyone's kind of doing a little bit of a land swap, so to speak. So like Kristen's giving up some land. I'm giving some land to Kristen from the boundary. She's allowing my building to shift into her land on the north. The village would be vacating some right-of-way to make up for some of the excess right-of-way that I gave up. In the end, the village ends up net positive. You guys end up with more square footage than you started with. And Kristen and I are comfortable with where we land. The other good news to this is, so then the approved amended development plan that is on file, Kristen and I have to build parking spaces on West Street. What we confirmed in the survey is that as designed in that plan, it's impossible to build what we designed or what was designed in 2012, but we are going to go ahead and commit all of today's cost numbers to this project. So that comes right off of the top so that that's not getting paid for by the village. And then I'm committing to, there was $5,000 in my approved plan. We went ahead and indexed that for inflation. So that ended up being like $7,200-ish that are going there. And then I'm also committing all of the same dollars as if this had never happened. So if you guys just said, hey, we want to leave it all parallel, Matt, what were you going to spend? Well, I was going to have to put in a new sidewalk. I was going to have to do site grading. I was going to have to do all of that anyways. So all in told, I think we're looking at a project of about, I think we said it was 115,000-ish. And so then I will be putting in 65,000 with myself and Kristen, and then asking the village if they would like the parking to put in the additional 50,000 to do that. I just threw a lot at you. What questions do you have?
I just want to say thank you, Matt, for bringing us along in this process. You know, kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right?
what you felt, and so it really helps us to understand what journey that you've been on, and how challenging this has been, and how much all of you have been working very hard on that. So I thank you.
Thank you,
And
Jill.
really
It's been
trying to
fun.
make-
It has been a challenge.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
It's been very collaborative, though, and we appreciate
Right.
that. Mark, do you want to maybe address, from an engineering point of view, your support or what your concerns, thoughts are? Would be helpful. if you
One
did.
second.
Yeah.
So when you referred to the 50,000 for the village for additional parking, is that parking on West?
No, actually, that parking is the parking that you're seeing right now. So essentially, we have a design for the parking on West Street where it shows 4 parallel spaces and a sidewalk. That is all future expense at a future date, because in order for that to be feasible, the road would need to be widened to the true right-of-way, not beyond what you already have, but it would need to be widened. So the recommendation is really to do that at the time that you repave West Street.
Yeah, I think from a council standpoint, we'd have to figure out where's that 50,000 coming from.
That's
So,
a great
more
question,
conversation.
Kathy.
Do you want to speak to that, Michelle? We have several budget line items for road improvements, and this is such a great opportunity for the village. I mean, we get all this stuff done for $50,000. We would never be able to do this. First of all, the developer is going to do the work, so it's not prevailing wage, so he's doing that. Our portion of it is much, much less than it would be if we tried to do anything like this on our own. So it did kind of shift our priorities, Kathy, and, that happens, right? We didn't know Mr. Hollis was going to come in and just be so willing to work with the village. I mean, he's done everything we've asked. We've created new parking downtown. We're really going to improve that stretch of Columbus Street there in a lot of ways. So we thought we would take funds from our big pool of road money, and Michelle can speak to that.
How delicate we are about, Michael speaking to this too, about dollars when it comes to the road and the sidewalks and all of that. Your mic's off, Kathy. I just clicked it off and it was on. Just how delicate we are about using funds from the street and that type of thing, because we have a major need here in the village when it comes to curbs and sidewalks and streets, that I struggle with having to come up with 50,000.
Well, the thing is that we get the sidewalk. we get a correction of a lot of problems down there that would cost us more if it weren't for this development, and we just wouldn't be able to do it. We're getting a brand new sidewalk All the ADA stuff is solved. Yeah, we're really, this money is being spent on the very thing that we had budgeted the money to be spent on, is correcting.
Will you offer us 60 months, 0% interest?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm negotiable, Kathy. We can talk about it. How's that?
Kathy, I think we always also get some safety features here because we're going to bump out the stop signs on both ends.
Improves the one intersection.
So visibility is going to be a lot better down in that corner than we've had. The challenge here is it's kind of one of those things where if Hollis breaks ground, we kind of need to do this at the same
So you're gonna
time.
do it at once
Yeah,
versus-
yeah.
Want to have two projects at two different times.
Yeah, and that's a good way to put it too, you know. And I'm not pushing one way or the other. I do hope you guys know that, like, you know, from my standpoint, I do think it's a win for the village. But I recognize the stress on funds. And if you guys were to say, hey, no, we don't want to do this, go do what you were going to do. You know, I'm not pushing one way for the other as the private sector. I don't want you to think I'm asking for a favor. If anything, I think collaboratively it really is a win for the village, and you guys are being able to pick up on a lot of funds that we're going to spend anyways to reduce a lot of that burden there. So.
Any questions? Anything else? Okay, then, thank. Yeah, you mark your one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need my name. All right, thank you. It's Mark Ruffiner. I'm the village engineer for the Village of Galena. And I believe all of you have the copy of the letter that I provided to the village, just outlining a few of the things that we worked through with Matt here. The first one is the right-of-way vacation and dedication. There's approximately 408 square feet that Matt would be, between Matt and Coldwater, that they would be giving up to the village to take the place of that new sidewalk. And then the village, in turn, would be vacating approximately 382 square feet. One of the things that we've talked about subsequent to this letter is that the village should maintain easement rights in there in case there would be a utility need or some other need that you could be able to access that area, while still allowing it to be Matt's property so he could meet his minimum lot requirements. And that is something that will need to be a separate ordinance that I believe maybe Ken will put together for both the dedication and then the vacation of the right-of-way. We also took a look at the public infrastructure costs. Matt put together a cost estimate. We reviewed that and found that those costs that he put together, they were reasonable. We believe the $50,000 that's estimated for the improvements is a reasonable number for the village. And then finally, related to the site access that he mentioned on Middle Street, the traffic engineer did do a review of that, and we put together a list of some items that should be included in the approval, most of which Matt, I believe, has already mentioned, including restricting the site access to right in and right out, installing the mountable curb, requiring installation of a gate across the access drive that would be locked. The one other item noted here that he did not mention, but that if there would be a vehicle backing out from that entrance, that there should be a flagger to make sure that that movement can happen safely. And then the final item would be if there's a change in use of the site, that it would require a new traffic access study to ensure that the existing access is still valid for the new use. Any questions?
A lot of insight. So that was a lot of insight to add that last piece.
I forgot those things.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Just
We
about a
talked
new-
about them.
Yeah. All right. No, sounds like you're really covering a lot of this and looked at it upside down and sideways, right? Quick question for the village. As far as that $50,000, obviously this wasn't something that we necessarily budgeted for early on. So I was just curious, is that plausible? Are we able to do that?
It's in the budget.
It is in the budget
It just
already.
wasn't allocated for that direction at that point.
I see, okay, so it's in there under,
They're not asking for any additional budget dollars.
great, okay.
Under which one?
The funds are, that we have funds in the actual street fund that we could use, or under the general, there's under the street categories.
Okay.
There's some preventative and different types, so it's in the budget, but not necessarily was put for this project.
Okay, I didn't think so, thank you. So as of any good budget and any other home budget, we have to always choose between one thing and another. So what does this make us kind of not be able to do perhaps this year? Anything in particular? I mean, because again, it wasn't necessarily budgeted for any one thing. I mean, that's a more general category, I understand.
That's a great question. We've been talking a lot about that. So when we put the budget together, we do our best to try to forecast costs, and we really don't know until we get quotes. So we need to get quotes on this stuff. And I do have meetings with contractors coming up to try to do that. So I also want to add that our numbers come up to be, I think, $37,000. So we added there's some contingency built in there as well.
Sure.
Into that 50,000. And so we have a big pile of money for a lot of projects. So, this one ends up being one for this year because Matt's doing the work. So
Right.
I can't really say exactly.
Okay.
We have the Home
Understand
Street
that.
project is budgeted. We have budget money for that.
Yep.
We have all the money that we put in for street repairs and correction is for the entire village. And one thing that we really have to get done this year is the failed asphalt at the stopping areas, like out here on
Yes, all the
Columbus and Walnut.
pushing it
And so we
forward.
have to address those issues.
Yeah.
And then we have some parking pavement stuff that we have to address as well. But we talked about it, we've been looking at it, and we think we can still get everything done with what we have budgeted.
Well,
So
we're
I'm
going to
not
get that $3 million grant, right?
Well, that'd be great, wouldn't it? So that's another thing, is that if we get that, we're home free.
That's right, that's right. I was just kind of curious, because I know there's always a give and take.
Yeah, I'm sorry I can't be more
No,
exact on that.
I understand why you can't, so that's.
All right, anything else for Matt, for Mark? Any other questions? Matt, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I do have a couple other things I just want to say real briefly. So again, one more thing. Again, I'm either way, right? Like, I think it's good for the village. I want to do the best that I can to help the village with the funds. I recognize it's a lot of money. The other thing, though, that Tom and your team was successful in doing was getting me to commit to a not to exceed, despite the fact I have no construction drawings and no quotes, right? And so, like, the risk is really not on the village in the project. The risk is really on me for any cost overruns, et cetera. So just something else to keep in mind, even though it is a big ask, recognize that, there's very little risk to that ask for you guys versus if you guys were to go do these things on your own with your own, budget funds, it's a little different. The only other thing, I brought it up the last time, and I'd like to say it again. So originally, when I purchased the property, I sat on it for a little while, just kind of playing with different ideas, and I approached the village last November, and we're now sitting here at end of April, and I'm working really, really hard to try to get it as much of a win-win for everyone as I can. But with the 3 readings and then the 30 days, I can't even get to Delaware County to get a permit until I have the zoning certificate, which comes at the end of that process. Delaware County is running somewhere around 30 to 45 days for approval. So as of today, even if if you guys were to vote and it were to pass and go through all the readings, et cetera, I'm looking at September 15th to break ground. And so that's pretty difficult from a development perspective when so much of the project is earth moving, concrete and asphalt. And so if there's any way that you would consider suspending the rules on it, I'm not asking for an emergency because our civil engineers, architect are going to need some time to develop plans anyways. But if there was a potential that you would look at suspending the rules, it could pick me up about 60 days of prime summer, construction time. So just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, Matt.
I want to add something too to Councilman Love's question. I failed to mention that this year we were going to do the striping part of this project anyhow. The stop signs, you can't even see the stop signs on these corners, and they need to be moved out. And B&N's done some work for us and figuring that out. And so the drawing that you see, that you have in front of you, includes a lot of stuff that we thought we had to do this year anyhow. like striping the bump outs. We have the ADA ramps. Those are in disrepair in that area. This gets them fixed. We have the relocating of the signs, that's important, and the striping of the ADA ramps and some asphalt repair. So really, out of that 37,000, a lot of that was going to be spent already. So I failed to mention that before.
Thank you, Tom. All right. I think that's it for this hearing, and if there's no other questions, I'll take a motion to close this hearing.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Matt.
I'll make the motion.
Zach, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Pete? Michelle, when you're ready?
Okay, Mike?
Yes.
Pete?
Yes.
Jillian?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Jill?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Okay, this hearing closed at 7:19 PM. Just read this next one. Ordinance number 2026-05, first reading. An ordinance accepting the recommendation of the Galena Planning and Zoning Commission for amendment to the existing commercial development plan for a 107-acre parcel, more or less currently situated in a planned commercial and office district under Village of Galena zoning, being the property of Cat Mortney LLC. So the request was from Mr. Hollis was to consider suspending the rules. I think that if we do not do this as an emergency, just for clarity, it would mean that we'd potentially pass it tonight with a 30-day before it's implemented. So that would be the recommendation on the table. So if someone would like to make a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance number 2026-05.
I'd be happy to suspend the rules.
It's worth mention, Mayor, that you have other options too. You can modify the recommendation, or you can vote it down. If you do the modification or do not approve it, you need a supermajority. Otherwise, if we're moving along in this way with the rule suspension, you're ratifying what the Planning and Zoning Commission
Ratifying what
recommended.
was presented.
Okay.
With the, well, to just be clear, zoning passed it with the stipulation that engineering had to be completed. So it came to council in that fashion. Now that the engineering is completed, it's really council's decision from here, right? So Jill made the motion. We have a
That's
second?
correct. Mhm.
I'll second.
Kathy, second. When you're ready, Michelle?
Pete?
Yes.
Jillian?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Jill?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance number 2026-05. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Zach motioned. Do I have a second?
Second.
Kathy?
Yes.
Thank you. Michelle, when you're ready?
Okay, Jillian?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Jill?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And Pete?
Yes.
Ordinance passes. All right. Good job. Appreciate your partnership. Okay. All right. Resolution number 2026-14, first reading, a resolution authorizing expenditures not to exceed $50,000 of existing street repair budget to address safety issues and additional parking on the square. All right. We have the minutes from March 23rd, 2026. Council's hopefully had a chance to review. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Yes.
Pete, a motion. Do we have a second?
Second. Jill?
Jill, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Leanna Purdue, are you in? Yes, you are. Hello. Waiting patiently.
Leanna Purdue, Director of Finance at the Public Health District. I will make this very quick for you all. Just a quick thank you to Zach for showing up for the District Advisory Council that occurred on March 19th to represent the village. The council did choose Mr. Rob Leeds of Scioto Township to the Board of Health. I do not have a flyer for this, but I did mention to Michelle earlier, as soon as I get the flyer, we will put that out. But we are doing a tire drive at Berkshire Middle School, July 18th. So as soon as we get that going, I will certainly share that with everybody so you can share it with the everyone here. And so we also have started a summer academy, a public health summer academy. It'll be July 13th through 17th. It's focused toward high school students, 9th through 12th graders who are interested in public health or, something very similar. So we do have that. The cost is $100. We do have limited scholarships available, though. So we encourage anybody, any high school students that are interested to certainly apply. And our summer clinic tour is starting. It's a mobile, so they will be all around Delaware County. And I think the first one in Galena is maybe over in Harlem Township on May 27th. So we do have that going around. And just a quick mention of our community health assessment. We have sent out a randomly selected 3,400 households to collect, asking them to participate, if in just making Delaware County healthier. And so that I don't know if anybody has received that, but they are randomly selected. And so we just ask that they complete that for us so that we can get all the data. And we have partnered through a grant, a prevention grant with Black Hawk. And so I think that's their name. But we do have free safe storage. It's an extra large 3-dial lockbox for handguns. And so if anyone is interested, that is on our website, QR code available. And I think yes, ma'am.
The other thing, you had sent out an email about the mosquito and the bug, something about, and you needed something back from the village. It was sent out about a couple weeks ago. Do we still need to complete that? There was no legislation required. It was just something you needed our approval of?
I will have to look into that. I'm not sure who sent that out, so I will let me follow up on that and make sure that, because I'm not certain. I didn't I don't think I got that.
I know our neighborhood, Big Walnut, basically, they're complaining of ticks, a lot of ticks. Are you hearing that?
Yes, they are interestingly enough, we actually just had a little off-site training on Friday for all of our staff, and that was one of the conversations that we actually spoke about, learned more about, and so it is definitely very high in Ohio right now. We have started a program to where in the parks, we've actually got jars to where you can take you get a tick, you take it off, you put it in, yeah, all the things. So it's huge though right now. Yeah, so be very careful. Do a check every time you're walking through the woods or mowing or whatever. Any other questions?
Thank you, Lee.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you
Thanks for
having me.
coming out. Is Mr. Gallagher here? Thank you, sir, for coming in. You want to make your way up? Sorry we took so long to get to you. John Gallagher is with Gallagher Appraisals. We've been debating a little bit what to do with the house at 1792 Old 3C. Council asked administration to document the process, and part of that process was to go get the appraisals, which were emailed to all of you a few weeks ago, I believe. And we asked Mr. Gallagher to come in and just explain what these appraisals mean and answer any questions you guys have. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Gallagher.
You have the appraisals in front of you. It's on the land at 1792 Old 3C Highway. Did you guys read it? Do you have any questions?
John, you had two appraisals, or at least two, right?
There's actually three appraisals. One on the original parcel with the house, and then...
Kind of as it was purchased originally.
Pardon?
As it was purchased with everything on it, right? The 2+
yes.
acres and the house, okay.
Yes. It's actually 2.57 acres.
Mm-hmm.
So what I was instructed to do was to appraise it as is, the one parcel, and then to extract out the house and at least a half an acre, which I think is probably the most marketable and financially feasible for you guys. And I put down 0.57 acres with the house, and then the land would be 2 acres that you guys would retain ownership.
Okay. And
Assuming that that's all allowable by Delaware County and zoning. I'm sure you guys have a little bit of power in that.
So just for completeness, the estimate on the house with the 2.57 acres was
392,118.
392, yeah, 118.
360
360?
is there's a number of
developed.
approaches within
Oh, if
within there. On the sales comparison approach, which is the most weighted, if you were to put up the whole thing for sale, my estimate of value is 360.
Okay,
The other one was the cost approach,
Okay.
which
okay. And as selling the house standalone on I think you said 5.6 acres?
0.57 acres.
0.57,
200.
200 and,
It's 210, I believe.
okay,
It's 200,000.
$200,000 for the house on half an acre,
okay.
which I think is feasible. If I were listing the property, I would list it at 199 and see if you can get a bidding war,
Now, in
something
looking,
over that.
so in looking at that property, keeping in mind the land that we would be keeping is in the back, and we'd be using that potentially in the future for maintenance, trucks or salt or who knows what. When you look at that property front on, do you feel we can feasibly break it up to where there would be adequate space to drive through with our village vehicles?
I think there's enough frontage on that property. But when selling that other house, I would make sure that they understand that there could be some construction vehicles, another building back there, utility building. I would definitely disclose that stuff.
Sure.
Because if you didn't put in the driveway or the passageway, it could pose some problems if it's not already there. I wouldn't want to buy a property and have
No, my question is just.
dump trucks riding beside my house.
My question is just from your viewpoint of looking at the property left to right.
I think there's
do you
plenty of
feel it's
frontage to build
doable?
I think there's plenty of frontage. With the way the house sits, I think there's 30 or 40 feet that could be used as a driveway, basically, right away. And it does back up to the
To
bike
the
path.
path, yeah, bike path.
I think you guys got a nice piece of property there, and it is marketable. The house is rough, but I think handyman or even a person that flips houses could go in there and do a nice job with it. The bones are good.
The buns are good. You think that there would be interest in it to sell it?
And I would definitely make sure that the lot's at least a half an acre. The person that eventually buys the house will want it. A small business could go in there easily. The barn there now probably should be torn down. It's rough. Just enough land that they could build a 40 by 40 pole barn back there so that they could use it for whatever purpose they may have in mind for it.
Mm-hmm. As I recall, there's a drive on the, I don't know where north side and the south side of that house.
There is.
Entrance on both sides today.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But the house does sit to the north, I believe. It doesn't sit in the, you can answer that better than I could. I don't have a plat map in front of me. but I think it sits to the north, so it gives you enough space on the south side of the property.
To do what Kathy's saying down here?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Would that be considered a shared driveway, or is there place for two? So the homeowner driveway plus a service road
There's plenty of room for both.
for both? Okay, that's what I was curious.
Like you said, there are two drives right now. One's on the north side. I think they're gravel and they're not in good shape, but they're there.
Would there be enough space to connect the bike path and have two driveways? I can't see how that fits on that lot. Because we've talked about using some of that land to connect our bike path. And then, so you'd have that, then we'd have the driveway, we'd have this house. I just don't see how it fits, honestly. I know it's a cute house, but I want to keep the land. We don't have enough, we don't have anything else.
Yes, half an acre, right?
Well, I think the driveway would have a dual purpose. If you put a building back there on the 2 acres, you'd have to use the driveway also as a bike path connector. So I don't know if that answers your question. I understand your concerns.
No, it does, thank you.
I think, I'm just going to ask our village engineer, because we've looked at this, do you think there's enough room for a driveway and a bike path on the remainder of the lot?
We need to get you into the microphone, please.
I'm not sure how much, I'm not sure what the frontage is. I just put 2 acre site here, and I didn't bring a plat map with me. Do we have a plat here? It's on the report.
So to have a bike path and an access drag, you need about 50 feet to have some separation between the two. So I guess it depends where he's looking up to see how wide that frontage is on that total lot right now. Might be able to pull it up too.
I thought it was 200 feet frontage.
It's 200 feet and you'd have plenty of room.
That's what I thought.
Jillian, my sense is that there's plenty of room for all of that. We measured it off, but we'll double check and make sure. I think there's room for a driveway, a bike path, and plenty of frontage for the house.
So if I remember right with the maps shown, it showed you had 120-foot total frontage, and that we were going to split off 85 for the house, which would leave 35, which would be less than the 50 that Mark just stated we would have needed for both a driveway and the multi-use bike path.
You know more about it, I'm sorry.
That's what was on this picture that we had even coming into the year.
It said 85 feet.
Is, yeah.
120 foot total.
Yeah.
So that leaves 70 feet for the house frontage.
Yeah.
It would leave 70, if we did it that way.
And we could look and see if could we narrow that 50 feet down a little bit. I was assuming like a 24-foot wide drive, so you have vehicles that can go both ways.
Do we have any estimates on tearing the house down and taking it away?
In our packet, it was $30,000 to $40,000 to
I
tear
don't know
it
if
down.
I don't know if that's accurate anymore. I just want to.
Well, it can't be that much more. It's back on
There's
the
a
book.
barn there too, don't forget.
Yeah,
the
we
barn.
approved the barn to come down over a year ago.
Yeah.
Is council wanting to make a decision on this tonight, or does anyone else have questions?
I say we keep floating.
Yep.
Mike or Pete, your thought, like decision tonight, or
We're not
other
gonna-
questions, or just hold on to it?
To be frank, I'd honestly like to make a decision tonight, so we don't have to talk about this later. This is going on for 6 months. No,
Going a long
that's a
time.
valid, like, that's where I'm at.
I agree with you.
Do you guys hear that?
No.
He'd like to make a decision because we've been talking about it
Yes.
truly for over a year.
Yes.
I mean, I've been at the point, I don't think I've changed my mind, sorry about that, guys, but I want to keep the land. I don't like the idea of selling it as residential to somebody with the idea of what we could possibly ever do in the past. I just like the village to keep it. I know the house is cute, but it's also been closed up for 4 years at least, because I've only been here for 3, and we've had it before I came on this seat, so.
So your thought would be tear down
Tear
the
down the house
building,
and keep the
all
land.
the land for the village?
So if we do decide to split the lot, it would be making a divergent lot if we do take the 50-foot that Mark has recommended that we take for the frontage. So if this is going to be a planned residential district that we split it off to, they normally require 80 foot of frontage.
We just, so, you put on that, as a part of my decision-making, I now have heard from 3 different residents, 1 by email and 2 in person, who live directly adjoining this parcel, and they all say, hey, you're gonna need that land someday. We'd almost rather you just get rid of the house and keep it. So that's coming from people who are directly around that parcel. And then, we're growing like crazy, right? We're growing in the square. We got other folks here tonight to talk about even more development. We're eventually going to need to expand our road department, public safety, even this building we might grow out of. And now we're talking about, and I get it, we're lean right now. There's the potential to make $200,000. There's also the potential to open us up to liability and litigation long after we're gone, right? We bought that parcel for a reason. Good on you, Zach, for running point on that. We hold on to that land and we use it for what we have to, and we're just done. We just move on.
I'm with you.
So what do we
This
do
is
with
totally
that?
your decision. You make a motion, however you want to make the motion to do that.
Ken, is there any formal language?
Tear down and keep.
So I'll make the motion to keep the land at, what is it? I should know this by now. So
1792 South Old 3C Highway.
to keep the land and tear down the house and barn.
We can do some separate legislation or leave it. You already own it, so you
Right.
can do to it basically whatever you want to, so. Right,
We don't need
yeah.
legislation.
Yeah, you can just, if you can agree, perhaps by voice vote, that you're going to raise the building, that would be fine.
I'm thinking, if it's okay, Jillian made the motion, get a second, we do the vote, and if there's a majority, that's the
There you go.
Yeah, and as far as what we do with the house, right, raising the house, whatever, that doesn't have to be decided tonight. I think the question on the table is, what do we do with it? And the question right now that needs to be answered is, are we keeping that parcel in its entirety? If it's yes, then we can get the estimates on destruction or, coordinate with the fire district to see what we're gonna do if it's controlled burn. There's a ton of options there that don't have to be decided tonight. The question on the table is, keep it in its entirety or parcel it off.
So I'll make the motion to keep the property in its entirety.
I will second.
Great. Michelle, when you're ready.
Don't know where I'm at, so I'm just going to start with Mike.
Yes.
Pete,
Absolutely.
Jillian,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Jill,
Abstain?
Kathy.
Yes.
All right, 6 months in the making, we got a decision. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Thanks for your help on all of that. Thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate it very much.
Good luck with it.
Just did not do that.
All right. If there's no objection, we've had our friends from Romanelli and Hughes sitting here for an hour or more. Why don't we turn to that piece of legislation, which is on the last page. I will read it, and then if you guys want to come forward and make any comments, I'd love to have that. All right, resolution number 2026-13, first reading, a resolution approving the pre-annexation agreement between the Village of Galena and Romanelli Company LLC regarding real property formerly known as Black Hawk Golf Course. And we have our Romanelli team here.
Ready for me?
We're ready.
Good. Hi, David Fisher, Kephart Fisher, here on behalf of Romanelli Used Building Company, who will be building all the homes in there, and the Romanelli Company, which is a development arm of them that is in contract to buy that property. Black Hawk Golf Course, almost all of it is still in the township. There's a little sliver at the corner that's already in the village. What we're asking you to consider tonight is what we call a pre-annexation agreement. It's a pretty standard thing through annexations. All it does is kind of have you agree with us as we proceed through the process on annexation. We're telling you what the property is. We're telling you that how we think we're going to zone it, though that there's nothing with zoning in here. I mean, there's no such thing as Ohio as zoning property by contract. This still has to go through all your zoning processes with your planning commission, recommendations to council, coming back to council. All this does is set the stage. And as you agree that when we do file our annexation petition, within 20 days, you will issue what's known as a resolution of services to the county commissioners, telling them if you agree to the annexation down the road, that here's the services you will provide. Be it whatever we've listed in here. I think we've listed police, zoning services, sanitary sewer. That's the kind of thing that's involved in this. We are in what's called the due diligence stage right now with the current owner of the property. We're in contract to buy it. We are asking you to consider some expeditious actions on this if you're so inclined to do a suspension of the rules and an emergency because of the fact of all we've got to get done and the time period we've got to get it done in. We hope to file the annexation petition soon. We're in full-scale review of engineering feasibility, the zoning plan, all those sorts of things as we go forward. So we'd appreciate your consideration tonight in whatever manner you may choose to do so. With respect to expedition, we are anxious to get going on this and get working with you in the days to come. As perhaps you know, an annexation by itself, by the very time limits imposed on what's known as a Type 2 annexation, there's a number of months that kind of go by. And as those months go by, we'd hope to come in and be working with you on zoning, be working with you on other matters as it relates to the development of this property in the future. I think, Romanelli Used by reputation, and that's who's going to be building homes in here. It's going to be an exciting project. We think it'll be an excellent addition to the village of Galena, so we'd appreciate your consideration. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Ken, I got a
like-
question for you. Pre-annexation agreements, what liability does the village have, if any, for entering into agreement like this?
The only liability you have is that you either must agree or not agree. I mean, that's it. That's the substance of the agreement. So the reason I think, I won't speak for Mr. Fisher, but the reason I think developers want to do this is they want to have some idea as the development goes along that they're going to be successful. And if the answer is no, they're going to leave real quickly, probably even before they're annexed. But if they happen to be annexed and not zoned, they want the ability to get out. And that's in there. And those of you who are on council and remember the last project over there, it's the same. I think you did that agreement.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
It's the same agreement. You just changed the name. So. But there is no liability whatsoever.
No liability, village. Just for my 2 cents, we spent so much time and so much effort securing our 208 plan for the village. That was critical for us, in my view, because of discussions like this tonight, right? So this fits perfectly, I think, within the strategy, at least I have been discussing for the village. And Romanelli's already been proven to us, I think, in my view, to be a great partner. So I would encourage council to consider doing emergency language on this. Ken, you might need to help us with how we modify this to add that language.
Certainly, if you were going to add an emergency clause, I might suggest that the reason for the emergency is it starts the process towards development sooner rather than later, will allow the developer hopefully to take some use of the weather, The quicker the project gets developed, the quicker the village receives revenue. The premises is currently vacant, and if you've driven by it, you would like to see something else there other than what's there now. And as a result, you want to move the project along, and you want it to be, this legislation to be effective tonight.
Any questions for Ken or anybody from council? That's Miranda. What you just said into the record, Ken, can we move on with that?
Sure.
Okay, so then do we have a motion to suspend the rules for 2026-13 based on the modifications Ken just expressed?
So moved.
Jill, motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Pete, second. Michelle, when you're ready.
Pete,
Yes.
Jillian,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Mike.
No.
Okay, the motion passes. Resolution number 2026-13, do we have a motion to approve?
All motion, Jillian?
Wait, as
amended.
As amended.
As
and an
amended,
emergency?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
As amended, yeah, we said it. We got a second for that?
All second.
Zach, second, and when you're ready, Michelle.
Who was first?
Jillian
sorry.
and then Zach.
Thank you. Okay, where am I at? Jillian,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Mike,
No.
and Pete.
Yes.
All right, that resolution passes. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
you
you
guys
very much.
coming
Look
in.
forward to working
Thank
with you
Jim.
in the days to come.
All right. We are moving to public feedback. If anybody has anything to come forward and express, I don't see that. I do not have a mayor's report. Council president report.
In the sake of expediency, I have nothing to report.
Mr. Marshall, administrative report. We can read your report, or you?
Yes,
you
let's
say-
pass.
Okay. Michelle, fiscal officer report.
You can read it.
Thank you. Finance team, review the invoices for
Yes.
April. Is everything in order?
Yes.
Do we have a motion to approve April invoices?
I'll make the motion.
I will second.
Zach and Jillian, all in favor of paying April invoices, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Financial statements, finance team.
All was in order?
All in order, great. Do we have a motion to approve financial statements?
So moved.
Zach,
I'll second.
Jillian, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, yeah, zoning report is in your packet. All right, resolution number 2026-05, our second reading, a resolution to proceed with the submission of the question of levying a new tax to the voters of the Village of Galena, such tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for current expenses, including safety and security, at the rate of 2 mils for every $1 evaluation, which amounts to 20 cents for each $100 evaluation for 4 years, commencing with collection year 2027 for tax year 2026. Just want to make a point. In our last meeting, Pete, you wanted to earmark or at least suggest things go to safety and security, so that language was changed for this reading based on your request. Okay, moving on to resolution number 2026-06, first reading, emergency, a resolution transferring funds in the amount of $25,000 from other contractual services, 5201-541-399, to salaries administrative office, 5201-710-139, for operations certification and declaring an emergency. Tom, I'm going to turn this one to you.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Our wastewater treatment plant operates under what's called a National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit, or an NPDES permit. That permit requires the village to have a certified operator who's certified by the State of Ohio EPA at our facilities during our minimum staffing requirements, which are 10 hours per week. We currently contract out those services to a third party. the mayor has rightfully, in my opinion, challenged me to come up with, make sure we have a backup plan in case something happens to the contract operator. And that backup plan would be for our staff, both Kevin Kohler and myself are eligible to be the operator of record for that treatment plant. Kevin needs to go take his recertification test. But our personnel manual for many years has included a pay for certification. And what this legislation does is move funds over that we would have otherwise paid into a salary line item to be able to pay the certification bonus at such time as our staff becomes certified.
Bonus or hourly increase?
It's I said bonus, certification bonus. It's an hourly increase. It's over and above the pay. It's $1 for a collection system license, $2 for a Class 1 EPA operations license, $3 for a Class 2 EPA certification license, and so forth.
Is there any reason to move on this tonight?
Only if you want to.
Is anybody getting certified over the next month?
Probably, but I think they can wait for their bonus
Okay.
if you
All right, then
want to
we'll-
do that.
We'll keep it at the reading then, if that's okay. All right, resolution number 2026-07, first reading emergency. Resolution authorizing the village administrator to pursue community development block grant funding and enter into any agreement related to the same and declaring an emergency. This one, I just want to comment on this one. Probably my fault. The first month in office, I was approached by this block grant team, and it was for HUD. Okay, that's where the money's coming from, HUD, Housing and Urban Development. I didn't think we'd qualify because of our per house income in the village. I was wrong because they came back to me this year, and then I validated with the county finance team that in fact these dollars do roll down to the county holds these dollars, and the county makes decisions where the dollars go. The big question I had for the team was, okay, well, fine, but how do we qualify, right? And they committed to me that we can qualify by carving out the old village as its own section, which would more than likely qualify for these kinds of funds. So we do need to get ourselves ready to participate, which I believe starts in July 1st, right? So I would like to get this passed through emergency so we can put grant requests in and we can go after these dollars, and I think it would be beneficial to the village. Things like repairing sidewalks that are typically a homeowner's expense through the ORC, right? That would qualify for federal funding for, right, things like that would actually qualify. So I suggest we try to participate. I'm asking that we put emergency language and get ourselves ready to participate this year.
I do have a question about this one. I mean, obviously, if we're going to get money, why would you turn it down? But HUD scares the heck out of me.
Did me too.
What are the strings, if there are any that are attached, and how can we know that there are none?
Well, look, we don't have the contracts yet. We did meet with the finance team up in the county. It looks like you want to make a comment, Tom.
There are typically strings attached.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the strings attached are going to be, you're going to execute based on what the grant is.
Oh, they're the normal federal strings,
Yeah.
like Buy America, Build America, the BABA, steel purchase, minority participation, just all the things that are typically required.
Is this a match or no? Is this a match or no?
This legislation just authorized us to enter into any of these grants.
This is just us joining it, and then as
Yeah,
grants come available or as we apply, we can make those decisions.
What happened?
See the strings.
So it's not for a specific
No,
grant?
right.
So,
right. We
great,
have
okay.
oftentimes when we go for grants, we have to pass legislation
Right.
to even
apply, yeah.
request and apply.
Yeah.
Council always has the option if a grant is awarded
Mhm.
to say, yay, no, or, we're in or we're out.
Because you got to
Right.
agree to them on an individual basis.
I think it'd be crazy not to have had the opportunity to
I
go
think
for
we
any
should.
grant
I think we
ever.
should go for the funds and
For the
they're there
opportunity
and
to apply
there's-
anyways.
and the dollars are there. We were told there's $70 million last go-around. So I think we should go get a piece of that if we can.
I guess the only thing that I worry about is not knowing enough about what we're getting into a contract on, right? Are there passive requirements that go along with that, right? Is it, access to transportation? Is it diversifying housing and so on and so forth? So I think that when you're talking about entering into a program this large, we need to have a firm grasp of what are potential long-term obligations that we have to meet, and if those obligations align with what the community standard is, right? The old proverbial, is the juice worth the squeeze?
That would be grant specific. So we're just given the opportunity to just even dive into the water to see if it's something we
Sure,
want to
but-
even be involved in.
Yeah,
We're
but
not
does getting
committing
into-
to involved in anything.
Right, but does getting into the pool
Mm-hmm.
mean that you have to take what comes with all the pool, right? Is it like a club?
But if you don't
where
receive the
once
grant,
you-
you're not utilizing the pool.
If you don't receive
If
any
you don't receive
money,
the grant,
you
you're
don't
not-
have to do the stipulations.
Yeah, I agree with both you and Mike on the concern, but that concern's not in front of us yet, right?
Right.
If a grant's awarded, you'll be able to analyze it and understand it better and decide if it's the right thing for the village.
We always have the right to say no to the grant.
Yeah, you can always say no to the grant.
Because the grant could have absolutely no strings attached, and some of them might have so many, we might just turn it down.
This just allows us to get in the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think we
just
should
where
get in the
there's a
pool any
price
chance we have. to get-
That's the question. I guess we're cutting right to the chase. That's what I want to know. Is there a
Well,
price for admission?
What's the deadline?
Right.
Is there a deadline for this?
Yeah,
July
they
1st.
told me that I asked them for a specific deadline.
Mm-hmm.
They said the program will roll like it did, pretty much like it did last year, and it would be like a early July kind of deadline.
So would it be fair if, because it's saying to pursue, if we could get a little bit more information about just what this pool is for the May meeting? And that'll be a second reading, and then we can, if we're comfortable with it, then pass it, since
Fair
this is the
enough.
first time we're hearing it.
I think we have
I think
time.
that's sensible.
I think we have time. That seems to be where we're at. Okay. All right, resolution number 2026-08, first reading emergency, a resolution adopting a records retention schedule for the village of Galena, repealing any prior conflicting schedules and declaring an emergency. Who am I turning this to, Michelle or Tom?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. So as a report from the Records Commission, Records Retention Commission, we had a meeting before council, and what we have is an updated records retention schedule before you. The existing one in our last ordinance has been superseded by a new one, and I think we're getting close to actually being able to throw something away. What has to happen is you have to approve the schedule that's in front of you. Then we need to send that approved schedule to the state, who will then ratify your decision. And then once we get that approved by the state, then we're allowed to submit an application to throw something away. So this is the first step in getting ourselves organized. I'm so happy we've gotten to this point, but that's what this is about. It's an updated records retention schedule. Recommended by the Records Commission for you to pass. We reviewed it and
Passed
recommended.
unanimously. Passed unanimously. The
By the
Records
retention,
Commission.
you're on that committee?
Yes.
You want to talk to that as well? Was that something we need to do tonight, or are we okay?
I don't think it would hurt, because then we could send it out sooner.
Okay. Sending it out sooner has some benefit?
Well, that means we can start using the new policies.
And start shredding stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. and-
I'm off for purge.
Yeah, so you want to make a motion to suspend the rules, Zach?
Sure. I'll make the motion to suspend the rules.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Pete, second. When you're ready, Michelle.
Julia,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Kathy, Mike,
Stacks of paper can be dangerous. It's a work hazard, so yes.
Pete.
Yes. Also, as a caveat, I swung by to say hi to Tom the other day. He was using banker's boxes as a lunch table, so he needs he needs some room for activities down there, so.
We actually had a motion approved there. Okay. We have a motion to approve resolution number 2026-08.
So moved.
Zach, motion, we have a second. Kathy, second. When you're ready, Michelle.
Zach,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Jillian.
Yes.
Okay, it's been a really short night so far. Resolution number 2026-12, first reading of resolution approving a pre-annexation agreement between the Village of Galena and Miranda Homes of Ohio LLC. This is just a reading. Miranda's not here. They have not come in front of zoning yet. I don't know if they have plans for the next meeting. Do you? Okay, so still working through the process. This is the parcel you'll see that directly connects to Miller Farm. It's called the Diebold property, I believe. So just so you know where that is. Okay, just a reading tonight. All right, resolution number 2026-15, first reading emergency. A resolution authorizing to solicit quotes and select the best contractor in excess of the village administrator's authority not to exceed $75,000 for Walnut Creek Bridge repair and declaring an emergency. Tom, I'll turn this to you.
All right. So, thank you, Mayor and members of council. We worked pretty hard to try to plan out our expenditures this year, and Mr. Hollis threw us a curveball by making this project something we just can't not do. And the other thing that's happened is Walnut Creek Bridge is, oh, can I do that? Thanks. This is a report from KEM regarding the Walnut Creek Bridge, and the conclusion of the report is the bridge needs to be closed. You can see this picture right here is underneath the bridge, taken from underneath the bridge. The wood is significantly rotted, and we cannot predict its bearing capacity because we just don't know the extent of the rot. It's probably okay, but it might not be. So our recommendation is to close the bridge, which is just a real bummer, right? It's such a nice bridge. And
We closed this before.
so we had an estimate. KEM estimates that to do this project, according to the industry standard of care, would be to put a concrete deck on the bridge and railing, and that estimated cost is between $600,000 and $700,000. It's just not something that we can really even think about. So this is kind of a Tom idea. We talked to some the people that are building the pavilion and a couple other Amish contractors who are used to building timber structures, and we talked to our village engineer about simply replacing board for board, like for like, member for member, replacing the bridge with pressure treated wood, which would extend its life three, four times the life. And we think that we might be able to get this done for under $75,000. We don't know this for sure, but the contractor that's working on the pavilion told us there's a chance that they might be able to get in right away, but if they had to wait, they wouldn't be able to do it this year. So talked to the mayor, and we thought we'd present this to you. If we have the opportunity to get this done for under $75,000, my recommendation would be to just pull the trigger immediately and get it done. We don't know if we'll have that opportunity, but if we do, we'd like to have the authorization to get that done. So that's what this is all about. Kathy, you may have some comments.
Yeah, of course, it's my neighborhood. And the concern of, I understand it all, but the concern of closing it is, well, what does that do? That puts all their kids, including me, instead of going the path in the back way, we're now coming down Vans Valley, Joe Walker, Sunbury to get to downtown. So it's a critical bridge. It really is, because we can come across the bridge when we get right here up by the playground and the cemetery and everything else. So.
I also want to say that this was something that we've been talking about for many years, and it was because originally it was supposed to be a covered bridge, and so.
Are we going to get a cover on it now?
That's right. And it's always, we closed it at one time to vehicle traffic, and people didn't listen. So unfortunately, it was terrifying, because could be gone at any point. So you're saying with the pressure treated, which I totally in favor for, what about the under piece of it? That's,
All of it.
It seems to be.
because those are all rotted out, so.
Are sitting on top of the steel railing. Okay. And those are starting to show some signs of rotting. And then on top of those are the stringers, the joists, and these are really in bad shape. So what we're proposing is
Replace the joints.
everything
Oh,
off,
okay.
walk your way down the bridge,
Awesome.
replace it with pressure treated. We're confident that we don't need to do engineering, because it's already been engineered.
Yep.
Replacing.
And so that would be the thought. I
Well-
don't know if we can do this under 75, but we think we might be close. We talked about it, so I wanted to get close. And if we get one and they say, hey, we can do this now or never, we'd like to be able to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, and Joe, it is blocked to traffic, it is blocked to anything motorized, like,
That's what we
big wheels
previously
and
locked down.
lawnmowers and all that. We've put a post
We
in.
put the
and
post
all
in,
that.
yeah, that's why we put the post in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had a few.
But it's so dangerous closing this.
So the budget for this one, where's that coming from?
Our unforeseen, we have 100,000 allocated.
We have a significant budget because we had thought about doing maintenance on this bridge. So we have a significant budget in our trail repair fund that would cover this cost.
So the dollars are there. Tom's asking for your authority to spend up to $75,000 if he can make it happen. That's the ask.
I think we,
Mike.
Call everybody's attention to the third whereas paragraph, which should be deleted.
Which one?
Third whereas paragraph.
Section 3 of the actual
Of the
resolution.
actual resolution.
I'm just curious, does it make sense to raise this amount? I can't see how you could possibly do this for $75,000. And so I just wondered if we had the opportunity to raise the amount.
Well, the problem is, Jill, is that if we go over 75,000, it kicks us into prevailing wage and
I
a lot
see.
of other things.
Got it.
And so if it's a little bit over $75,000, it's going to be a lot over.
Right.
And we thought that if we could just do this as a repair project and keep it under the state threshold.
Understood.
That's why we had that number there.
So not to
I'm
be the
just trying
bad
to give
guy,
you a little
but the
more.
only thing that I would like to see is that it has to pass inspection before the final payment is due, right? So if we have to do a split payment or whatever, I just don't want, KEM to come out and put eyes on it and be like, hey, this is great, you can't use it, right? That's kind of my thought process. So the only caveat that I would have to that is I'm all for replacing like for like, right? And definitely using like the womanized or pressure treated lumber for longevity. However, I want some assurance that, even though we're getting a bargain basement price, it's still going to be usable and it insulates us from liability, meaning that it meets some standard for use.
That's a very good point, and we have planned on having KM inspect it, not just at the end, but throughout the process.
Good. Yeah, I just don't want us to.
Yeah, that's a good point, Pete, always.
Would those original plans have had the covered bridge, which would have changed the requirements for the wood? No? Okay.
Tom says no.
Well,
I got somebody shaking his head
the,
behind you.
Mark, my opinion on that would be the only thing that it might change was let us go down in size with the girders. I think that's what he's asking. Does it change the loading? And if it
Yeah,
would,
'cause having the
if any-
cover part of the bridge would change weight load and
if anything, it
whether-
would change the size of the wooden girders to a smaller size, So I would recommend just replacing what's there.
Yeah, okay. Just wondering.
Hey,
It's a
team,
good
if you
question.
look at the actual resolution, the copy here, Ken suggested that the third whereas be stricken from the resolution, so I'm making that amendment here, that will not be in the resolution, where it says, whereas council having considered the same approves the contract with JDM, that's stricken. So now, I will ask council for a motion to suspend the rules for resolution number 2026-15.
So moved.
Second.
Who was that?
I don't know.
Mike?
Somebody on this side of the table.
Mike.
I don't
then
know. Pete,
Jill.
Wow.
I don't know.
He must want to move this along. Do I have a
Mike, then
second?
Jill.
And
We've
Jill?
been talking about this for a long time, and it's a safety hazard. So
Yeah.
yes.
Mike and Jill, when you're ready.
Okay, Mike,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Jillian,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Kathy.
Yes.
Great. Do we have a,
Well, last question before we
Yep.
go to the vote.
Yep.
So if we're going to get this thing rolling, are we temporarily going to close this bridge? I mean, I know it's inconvenient based on the timing and the weather's getting nice and kids are going to be out. However,
it's going to be closed now.
safety kind of trumps.
For sure, if
Yeah.
they're the missing pieces, they're going to have to go around.
What
during the
date is
inspection.
school out? Why don't you just close it that day, guys? Because
Yeah,
every kid's
it's-
going to want to go over it.
It should be closed
I
now,
know.
right? I mean, that's where we're at. You got the recommendation, we should close it, yeah.
Do we have any kind of
But-
timeline on this? If we find the wood that we need and it's under budget, do we know how long a project like this would take?
The guy I met with last week said 2 weeks.
Oh, that's not bad.
In preparation for the backlash, because that's what I'll get through the neighborhood, yeah, you're moving along with this, and we have to continue to move at that pace and get them down there and find out if they could do the job or not.
And there's no guarantee we can do this.
Oh, I
This is
know,
just a-
I know,
yeah.
absolutely.
This is a,
Does this set up, this is one thing I'm always concerned about, liability. Now that we know that it's that unsafe, if something happens, then are we held accountable?
Yeah,
That's why we need to close it.
That's
I
why I'm,
think
that's why I'm
so.
saying, that's why we need to
Yeah,
close
I
it.
mean, in the community backlash, right? So
what we did with the playground.
So here's the deal. It's inconvenient. However, safety, once again, is always going to trump convenience. So, and I know kids are going to be mad, and it does, it impacts your neighborhood, Kathy, and more than everybody else. It would be real inconvenient to end up at Quabbin.
No, absolutely. My point is just, and as Tom has been doing, move it. Let's move along with it. Let's see how fast we can get estimates, et cetera.
this will help us move it along. Do we have a motion?
And you're safe. I'm not riding a bike right now, so I'm not going over.
Do we have a motion to approve resolution number 2026-15?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Pete?
I'll second.
Zach, second. Michelle, when you're ready.
Okay. Pete,
Yes.
Jillian,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
and Mike.
Yes.
When you put a notice out to the neighborhood, especially their neighborhood, can you add pictures to that so people do understand? Yes, I think it speaks 1,000 words, so. Right.
And the kids do
Going
like
in the
to
creek.
hang on that.
Ken, do you need us to make a motion to officially close the bridge due to the recommendation of engineering?
Tom can do
Okay.
that, yeah. Okay, other business. I just want to mention again, Memorial Day ceremony is really taking shape. You know, if you've driven by the cemetery, you see some of the additions there. We will be ready, so please invite people. I'd like to see a big turnout. Also, we got notice today that Light Ohio Blue will be traveling through the village on May 6th. There'll be 150 police cruisers driving through the village and hitting our speed tables. At 7:30 p.m. Pete, you know more about probably this than I do if you want to comment on it.
Yeah, so Light Ohio Blue was started 11 years ago by a good personal friend of mine and Jillian's. He is United States Air Marshal. It was to show support for fallen police officers and memorialize them, and it directly coincides with the run-up to Police Week. I will be participating in that, in uniform and in a cruiser that night. It's a phenomenal thing to see. Kids love it. For the grown-ups in the community and those who support first responders, it is a very humbling experience. It's also great that for the first time, the city of Sunbury, and now by proxy, the village of Galena, because we're on the route, are going to participate in it, and you'll see law enforcement vehicles from all over the state of Ohio. So I would encourage all of you, if you're around, to come out and watch it. It really is, something to be seen. Specifically in that environment, I've unfortunately participated in a lot of funeral processions, which also attract law enforcement officers from all over the country, but this one is just kind of a reminder of what we do every day. So,
Can we get kind of a major blast
We'll get that out on social
media?
media.
And that needs to be shared all over the place.
Yeah.
I'd
Yep.
love to see Galena really take
Yep.
the lead on that.
And those without
That's
social
awesome.
media will know, because we literally take over the entire street. So the motorcycle
That's
unit is
so
shutting
awesome.
it down
And-
because our caravan doesn't stop.
That's so awesome.
And again, what's the date and time?
May 6th, again, May 6th, 7:30 PM is about the time they'll be in the village. And we will get that on social media.
Yep,
Joe.
and it also serves as, if you go to their website, it's lightohioblue.org. It encourages in the month of May for folks to light the front of their house blue. And then there's some other projects they do, not to go too far into it, but they do Operation Santa Sleigh, which always happens about a week before Christmas. It's also another law enforcement caravan where we start at the State House and then we end at Nationwide Children's Hospital. We actually escort Santa in a Bearcat, so he's got the safest ride in town. So that's a good one to see as well.
Fantastic. That's good. I look forward to it. Bring a flag and wave your flag. Okay, any other business from any other members? Cassie?
We do.
Okay,
Saturday, May 2nd.
that's this Saturday.
It's the Historical Society.
Oh, it's open.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the opening of the Historical Society.
1 o'clock.
Reopening. I can't find it on my thing.
1 o'clock Saturday. It's reopening, so be here. Anything else? Anybody? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Zach second, and we are adjourned. All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed. We've adjourned at 8:20 PM. Good job, everybody.